I am a woman of the Army following the 3rd New York Regiment. And today I am actually creating for myself a new apron that I needed desperately. So I was very happy to find the fabric. Women followed the Army during the American Revolution because in many cases, well, the war separated their families. And a lot of women didn't want to stay behind at home with their children because taking care of a farm and that kind of thing on your own is really tough. And a lot of women fought really hard to keep the families together. So they would travel with the soldiers. They were required to work in camp. So they would need to not usually be a seamstress. Most of the soldiers took care of the clothing repairs and that sort of thing on their own. But they would be washerwomen, washing clothing, gathering firewood, nursing, and that kind of thing. That they would be very beneficial for the Army. The Army couldn't survive without them, really. And so I'm just sewing on my apron today, while other women in our camp are actually doing cooking right now, because I think the soldiers are getting ready to go to battle, if I'm correct. But what I have here is different sewing items that women would use back then, and men. This is an item that's called a housewife, and it was a sewing kit. Here's my thread. And it's made up of little pockets, and you can see they would use scraps of fabric. Put my scissors in there. And men and women would carry these. And you bring it around here and tie it into a little packet, and that way you would have all the sewing implements that you would need right with you. And you can see how small it is to carry, just made out of scraps of fabric. And everything, you need for sewing is in there. So I've got, you can see I've got needles and pins, and I've got thread in here, and all kinds of things that I would need for sewing. And that's what all of these things are too. Here's a bodkin that helps you thread through. More thread. This is a needle case, but I don't think I have any needles in it. Yeah, and you would put needles in there. But I keep all of my items in this shaker box here, so that I have what I need close by at hand. Got to keep it close so you don't lose anything. One thing women wore during the 18th century, well, I can talk a little bit about my clothing if you like. The first piece that a woman wears is called a shift. And my shift it's almost like a big nightshirt. You can see it here. It goes through here, and it's all the way down here too. And that's like your underwear, if you will. On top of that, I have a petticoat, and right now, because the weather isn't too cold, I'm only wearing one. Normally, the women that followed the Army would wear everything they owned, because if you wear it, nobody else can take it from you. On top of that, I have a jacket and my apron, so I could keep the front of my petticoat clean. But the one thing that I'm wearing that you probably wouldn't know was there is my pocket. Now, in the 18th century, pockets were not sewn into clothing like they are today. And my pocket is right there. It is a separate garment that's tied around my waist. And this is where I can keep things. And if you look in my skirt, there is a slit right here so I can get to my pocket. And the reason why people did that, women did that, especially in the 18th century, is that with my jacket and my clothing and everything, you don't know that it's there. So it's very secure. Any things that I had that were very valuable to me would keep safely underneath. The shoes I'm wearing are soldier's shoes. I actually, before my 18th century person followed her husband, she had shoes, but since those became, they needed to be replaced. And so a soldier who didn't need his shoes anymore became my store, if you will, and I was able to get another pair. So I'm grateful for those, because with winter coming, a woman needs a good pair of shoes.